All right, we're doing it. It's that time again. We are live here on twitch.tv/Perry Von Vicious. And I'm just checking all the levels, making sure everything's good to go, making sure we're live everywhere we said we would be. I think we're in business here. Make sure all the streams are up and running. I know we're going to have folks rolling in right away because we had a blast last night. It was a hell of a stream. And tonight should be no different. Tonight we are in Blender. This is our first stream doing Blender, where I have previously we had made a blank for a keshi, a muscle figure, the Kinnikuman series. Hey, Ryan Cryptid in the chat. Welcome in, the first commenter. Happy to see you, my friend. We are here. We're making it happen. Yeah, we had made this blank of a keshi figure, and for those not terribly familiar, this is an OG 1980s figure of Kinnikuman, the main character from the series Kinnikuman. Let me see if I can get that to focus a little better. Sometimes you got to put a hand behind it to make it function right. There we go. And yeah, we're working on making some figures like this, some little mini figures. I've got a whole collection of them here that I can look at and draw inspiration from, and just in case anyone pops a show a toy. And the idea here is that I want to... Hey, Knee Goblin, welcome in. The idea here is I would like this figure, this blank that we worked on. By the time I'm done sculpting on it, I want it to be a figure of me, very reminiscent of these old Kinnikuman keshis. I mean, they're some of the coolest toys ever made, and they were super popular when I was little. They still make them today. When I was wrestling in Japan, I actually got some out of a gachapon machine. So they're still popular over there. You gotta love that. An endearing and lasting thing. All right. And make sure I gotta make sure I alert the Discord. What am I thinking? There we go. That'll alert some folks. They'll come rolling in. Everyone's been having a blast over on the Discord. Thank you all for hopping in there and jumping in on the conversation. All right, so there's a lot to do on this guy, and Blender is a crazy robust design program. It was originally made for animation purposes, and you can see there's actually a little timeline going across the bottom of my screen there. And that is because you can animate figures. It is also used, though, for 3D design for toys. Hey, Bender, can you teach me Blender? So right now, I'm at the most daunting part, which is when you're staring at essentially a blank where nothing has happened. So we're gonna start working on this right away. Now, there is a function, Citizens of Leonardo, I have returned. There is a function where you can make everything symmetrical as you work on it, but because I made this and I know for a fact that it's not fully symmetrical, I'm not gonna do that because that could really mess me up. Instead, I'm just gonna suffer through it and make it work. And I think the way I want to do this is I want to just start right at ground level. I want to start right down on the boots. We'll work up the boots, then we'll work on knee pads. Maybe we'll carve some, like, some sort of... I'm basing this largely on what I see on the original toys, and maybe we'll put some indications of leg muscles in there on this big buffalo figure who is obviously based on Bruiser Brody. He has them on there. So it's a lot to consider, a lot to work on. But if we take our time, see that it actually comes together pretty nice. So we're going to try to work on one foot and then the other. So while we're in Sculpt here, I'm going to show how some of this stuff works. There's a lot of different tools here, and they use sculpting terminology. So we have draw, we have draw sharp, we have clay strips, clay thumb, and they all layer, inflate, blob, like they have smooth. All these things have their own little things that they do. So right now I kind of want to smooth the surface, because right now you can see I had it in fairly low poly when I was working in Tinkercad, because Tinkercad doesn't allow for you to do a lot of high poly work. But here I can really put it as high as my computer will handle. In fact, before we went on, the first thing I had to do was select the entire piece. There's a mode here called Edit Mode. I'm gonna let it open that so you can see. But it essentially lets you choose all the faces or all the vertices. You can alter them there. What I did was I opened that, I selected everything. Yeah, you can see now all the vertices, all the faces are selected. And I subdivided. I subdivided everything so it would be more smooth. So where this used to have not so many, those big squares, now look at all the little surfaces that'll alter as we work. That's what you want if you want to sculpt something and have it work smoothly in digital. All right, so now we're back in. Go ahead and I'm just going to find the smooth option, and with this, I think this radius is okay. I'm gonna make the radius a little bit bigger. Let's call it like, I don't know, 80. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's a bit bigger. That's a little easier to work with. And then for strength, I tend to go pretty high on this. Like, I think I usually float right around a 1. And let's just see what'll happen. Yeah, you can see that smoothing happening already. And that's real nice that now we can just, all those, and if you see how it's real powerful, look at that. I'm smoothing it right in and unshaping it. So like, yeah, we want to go, I'm going to undo all of what I just did there. We're going to go lighter on the effect here. We're going to go like let's call it like a 0.6. See what that does. Yeah, because we don't want to hurt the shape too much. We want to keep the shape, but smoothing is going to be important because we want it to seem real, and having a million little squares visible doesn't feel right. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of a boot shape there. I'm happy with that. That's a good start. Here. Now we can't have this separation here. Hey, Nicka Beans, welcome in. We can't have this separation, and usually what we have to do for that is smoothing between the two, but it takes a fair bit of strength. Sometimes we have to inflate it. It's hard to say what will make that go away. So let's try inflate and see what happens. Oh, it needs to be stronger than that. Let's call it a 1. Yeah, that's what we need. We need that seam to go away, and then we can smooth it after that. See, right now this like bulbous effect. Now there's a few ways that you can have a wider effect here, right? Like I'm getting these little bulbs that are coming out of it. If you zoom out, see how my thing stayed the exact same size, but now it's bigger in comparison with the piece. I can kind of just hit the whole thing like that. And sometimes that's what you need. So now let's go back to our smooth. And let's see if we can smooth it down to where it looks right. Now bear in mind, a lot of these details are not going to be visible, because once again, this toy, when it's done, is only going to be about that big. You know, like thumb for scale, right? Like these figures, I have my micrometer here, but they're like 1.5 inches tall. You know, some of them, you know, I have the Kaiju Big Battle ones. They're slightly bigger, maybe an inch and 3/4. Um, but yeah, we'll have lots of those. Hey, Adam NX67, welcome in. I have lots of examples of those that we can take a look at. Let's see, what's the flatten do? Yeah, the flatten works a little faster here, and I kind of like that. Let's try the smooth again. And this is one of the tricky things, is like you end up doing a lot of this sort of fine work as you work your way into what you're doing. And again, we don't have to make this perfect. We just have to make it good enough, because it will be really small. Let's try the scrape. Ready for the scrape tool? Let's see. Oh, that's kind of giving us what we want. Yeah. That's moving some pixels. That's a bit much. There we go. And what's interesting is the faster you move the cursor in those moments, the more it does, the more it pulls. That Joey Nails emote kills me. Yeah, I'll be interested to see if we see Johnny Torres tonight. I think Joey Nails said he and his girlfriend may pop in to watch for a bit. Johnny Torres, I know, is not feeling well. He told me there's a chance he and I may not co-stream tomorrow. If that ends up being the case, I will be solo streaming. That's having a big effect there. Not a bad effect, though. Okay, that last bit was a bit much. Yeah, we're starting to look pretty solid there. Alright, let's get in, do some detail work here. We want to flatten that for sure. Now, the tricky part is we're going to get all this done, then we're going to go do the exact same thing to the other boot. Do another monster truck watch along. I was thinking about what I would want to do if Torres doesn't make it. I have some games in mind that I might want to play. I was sort of thinking we might do a watch along, because I do want to keep the stream tomorrow. I don't want to cancel the stream. But Johnny Torres might be feeling fine. We might be doing just fine. So we'll have to wait and see. That another BeamNG monster truck racing. Yo, how fun is that? It's so great. I need to actually do some updating of my BeamNG because it has not been in great shape lately. So this side's looking really good and smooth. This side, we still have some separation there, so I got to figure out what to do about that. I'm kind of wondering, somewhere in here there is a tool that I always end up liking a lot. But I always end up waiting. Was it Blob? It might be Blob. Yeah, I think it might be Blob. If I do that and then I come back over and I smooth it. Yeah, I tend to have some pretty good success with that. That's going to be barely noticeable on a 3D print. Okay, that's looking good. Turn of everyone's favorite timekeeper, Adam NX67. Yeah, I would say maybe he has a 24-hour flu, except he's been sick all week. That's why he hasn't been streaming this week. So a little bit concerning. He's got to be better before the weekend, because he and I are riding out together for Rad Pro Wrestling on the other half of Massachusetts this Saturday, where Fresh Youngman making his first appearance of the year. Always happy to see Fresh Youngman getting some work. He's the youngest man with the freshest face. No, Adam NX67, Johnny does the driving. My vehicles are all old and I try not to stress them too much. Okay, smooth. Oh, that's a bit much. We don't need to do all that. Just want just want to smooth this out nice and easy. Now, yeah, it has a stronger effect the faster you move the cursor. And that's something I always try to keep in mind because I don't want to mess up my design. Sometimes I even just come in and do like a single click. See, like that's looking pretty good. We got a nice smooth surface happening now. And every once in a while I want to pan out and get, yeah, look at that. That's already looking more like wrestling boots. Like that really didn't take much at all. And I do want to work to kind of hide this this seam a little. So let's go ahead and bring it way in. Whoa. Okay. Just stay. Watch it, fella. All right, let's get back to our blob. Where's the blob? There's the blob. Blob inflate. Is it layer that I like sometimes? Could be layer. Could be clay strips. Clay strips is pretty neat when you work with it. Like, it sort of does this thing. I use that to make edges. And it's really effective. And you'll see how we do that in a little bit. You know, this is giving away trade secrets, but I'll tell you, one of the things that has made toy making really easy for me is that there's a lot of scans of other toys that people have put online. So I'm often standing on the shoulders of giants when I'm doing my toy designs, so to speak. You know, I'm often sculpting on top of a pre-existing WWF Hasbro, or I've used parts from Dick Tracy figures because they're all sort of the same scale and style. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to do the same thing over here actually, because I can go back over and smooth it out. There we go. All right. We'll see which of them shows up first. I kind of hope Johnny Torres is resting. I told him earlier, I was like, man, I don't get me wrong, I'd love for you to be hanging out in the stream, but I really hope you're just resting. I wouldn't put it past him to just put the stream on while he's resting. That wouldn't surprise me at all. All right, yeah, and you see what I'm doing now where I smooth that out? It's like those strips were never there, but now we have all that space filled in. Yeah, it looks much more solid. Yeah, that's nice. That makes that little lip between the boot and the, you know, the upper half of the boot and the lower half. It makes it very hard to notice. Yeah. That's looking really nice. Okay. I don't mind if the back's a little messy. My boots tend to look a little messy when I wear them. Now, I do want to take the top of this down a little bit, so I'm going to set my flatten. Yeah, let's bump that down a little. I do definitely break some rules that sculptors really live by. A lot of digital sculptors, you know, they swear you can't do this work with a mouse. You got to get a stylus, and it's definitely better. And a lot of people who do this kind of work do it on an iPad Pro or similar, because then they're sculpting right where they can see it. I find that this doesn't slow me down, and I also think that I can hear Rattling Bog to this sequence of emojis. I just noticed that. I think, you know, it's let's see, is that multiplane scrape? Scrape. Let's try scrape. I have to make it more powerful. What do I have to do? Fill? No. Flatten. Let's make that more powerful. Let's call that like a 0.8 and see what happens. Because I wanna deflate this a little bit. Is there a deflate button? Oh, you know what? I do know what there is. There is the, where's the magic grab? Elastic deform grab? Oh, it's one of those. Let's try the grab. And I like to make it pretty big. Because now I can, yeah, see that? How I can just push and pull parts? Yeah. See, now this is one of the cool things about this is, you know, if you haven't done this in a while, you're sort of find yourself like rediscovering what you're working on. Yeah, that's gonna work real nice. Okay, yeah, let's just deflate the top of that. Because while we do want it to look big and cartoony like the Kinnikuman figures do, we also want it to read as a wrestling boot. And they don't have to be symmetrical, because anyone who's ever looked at me in person knows I am not symmetrical. We talk Perry lore. Ask me sometime when you see me in person. My arms are not the same length as each other, and my legs are not the same length as each other, and it's really freaky. It's like a noticeable difference when I show people in person. Like, they're always kind of shocked because you don't notice it unless you're looking for it. All right. I kind of want to see if I come all the way down here, can I pull this back and make that less noticeable? Like, can I focus in on one part here? Yeah, I think that's actually working pretty good. All right, and we got like some weird little like butt ripple here, and I don't want that. Yeah, let's make that as less noticeable as we can. There we go. Yeah, that's much better. All right, and this is the neat part of this is like, if you have time where you're not able to work on these kinds of projects for a little while, you come back and start rediscovering the tools. It's a really neat part of the process that no one ever really gives credit to. All right, so I think I kind of want to make these thinner. Now I shaped this. Those who were there for when I was doing the sculpting of the blank here, you'll remember we made everything like really chunky so it would look like these figures. And that's because these figures are like sort of naturally chunky. You know, if I pull up Kinnikuman here, like all of his little limbs are a little bit chunky. You know, there's a cartoony quality to that. And that's important. But I also want it to look the way I want it to look. And to me, I think part of that's going to be that we really need to make this is going to have to be real big, like 150 or something like that. Yeah. Give it more like cartoony muscles. Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing is like, you're not really seeing the muscles through the boot. So I don't mind shrinking the boot in. You know what I mean? The rest having like some wide parts that are a little cartoony is great. Preferable even. I do like to zoom out every so often and get a nice wide perspective of what we're doing here. Okay, that's looking pretty good. It is one of the harder parts of doing this kind of work is, you know, you zoom in and you work on little details, but you lose the big picture of what you're creating. So if you're doing this kind of thing in person, you would find yourself sort of constantly needing to like step back. You'll see painters do that a lot. They'll step back and like look at what they're doing from a distance. And that's because there's so much more than all the little details, you know? And it's easy when you're trying to get those details right to get lost in what you're doing. Because right now I can say safely when I pan back, one of those looks more like a wrestling boot than the other. The other one looks more like a, I don't know, like a muckluck or an Ugg. So we gotta give this one the same treatment. We gotta shrink it on in. It doesn't have to shrink in that much because I do in fact have pretty big calves in person. And you can kind of tell it through my boots. Like it's a noticeable feature. Let's see how that's doing. Well, we might need to... Actually, I think that's looking pretty good. I think those look okay. And I like the base being big and dumb and wide like that because that's going to make the figure stand a little more easily. Because I don't want to have to give up and like give him like a stand that he's attached to. You know, I want it to be like the actual keshis where they stand. You know. I'm curious, are you guys hearing the chiptune? Is the little chiptune backing playing? And is it loud enough or too quiet? Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Little chiptune music brought to us by the one and only Coral. Coral, our sound guy at Pro Wrestling Grind. He's our sound guy, he's our light guy, a fantastic hand to have. He's made everything better. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to start working on some of the detail on the boots. So for that, okay, Adam NX67 says I can hear it, and it's not overpowering me, I presume, so that's good. So what I want to do is I want to give us like sort of an edge of the boot here, and then this is going to become the knee pads on each side. And we got to put some laces on these boots. And with that, that'll be it. That'll be boots. We'll have one piece done because I don't mind. You see this little like weird irregular shapes? That sort of feels right to these because these were all sculpted by hand. And when you get I'm trying to find one where you can really see, and it's hard to see on the camera, but there's so much little detail on there. And not all of it is perfect because it was so small when it was sculpted. And then it was shrunk down further because usually they're done a bit bigger than this. Like this one, I can actually see a mold line. That's crazy from a production piece. Unbelievable. All right. Now the tricky part's going to be when we get up here and we have to like sculpt muscles and smooth everything. That's going to be a lot of work. That's why I started on the boots. Because I'm reacquainting myself with some of these tools, you see. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to give ourselves like the edge of the boot here. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to come up here to the strips. Bring that radius way down. Call it like a 0.5. And let's just see what that does. Is that doing anything? No, that's doing nothing. Is it strips or was it blob? No, that's too big. So what we got to do for that is bring that down even more. Call it like 50. Because now we can, yeah, that's what we want. We want that. And strips sometimes. Is it strips that I like for that? Is it clay strips? What is it? Yeah, it's clay strips. That's the one I was looking for. Come on. Let's go. And we're going to go 0.7 for the strength on that. Because we can always do multiple layers. So I want to go about here as the height of the boot. And we're just, doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line. We're just going to lay in a good layer of this. We're going to take it all the way around. Kind of straightening as we go. Zoom in because we want to keep it relatively the same size. Did you guys all see Bobby Gilbert? Hey, Day Without Darkness, welcome in. I am making, if you recall the old muscle figures, the Kinnikuman muscle figures, these little guys, they always look like erasers. It was from a anime that was based around pro wrestling in space. And all the characters were sort of based on famous wrestlers. This is one that was based on Bruiser Brody, Buffalo Man. And I started this project some time ago when I made sort of a blank that's very much in the style of that. And now I'm going in and I'm adding all the little details to turn this into a Perry Von Vicious keshi figure that I will then be able to sell at the merch table, because that's what it's all about. Okay, we're going to bring that around. Connect these because we just need that top line to kind of look right. Okay, that's looking good. And now what I want to do is we're just going to soften that edge. So I'm going to find our smooth tool. I think we need to go, the radius has got to be a bit bigger than this, so we're going to call it like, what's it, set at 50? Let's call it 80, why not? We can go bigger than that. We'll probably call it a full, like, 110. Because now we're just going to smooth that out in the hopes that we'll have that top edge, but not the bottom edge. And it will look like the boot went up smoothly and just ended. Yeah. Yeah. You can all see what I'm working at now. You can see the vision here. There we go. And just like that, we have a top of the boot. Look at that. Come on. Come on. I know a fella who will be one of the first in line for one. So the goal is, like, I'll sell them as single pieces, right? But what I would like to do is have a few. I've sort of been toying with pricing on these, trying to think, like, because it's going to be a small figure. Like, I'm going to do them in the same size as these. And in fact, if we pop a show a toy, I might show some of the old prototypes I made of me, Rip, and Delmy when I very first got a 3D printer. But they're going to be this size. I mean, look at that. That's thumb for scale. It is not a big toy. But I was thinking, oh, there it is. Whoa, whoa, multiple. Day Without Darkness redeemed show a toy, not Nika Beans. Ole, ole, it's showtime. I wonder if will that alert come up twice? Well, once is good enough. We know the deal. All right, so that gets us 2 of them. So I'll happily show. This one might be a little hard to see because I printed it in white. Now, what's interesting here, right, is when I first made these were some of the first things I made. When I got my 3D printer in 2020. It was Christmas of 2020. And I knew I wanted to make these, and I got some miniatures to print okay. It was a filament printer, which is not meant to print like precision little items. It's meant to be like large pieces that you use for prototyping, those kinds of things. When you think of Nika Beans, I think bought one of the Mad tanks back in the day. That was almost entirely done in filament, but the little Rip and Perry were done in resin. I only had filament, and it's not a fine precision tool unless you really, really work at your settings. And I really, really worked on my settings. And I was able to, I don't know how this is going to read on camera, if you're going to be able to see all the details or too many details. But this is Rip Bison. Roughly keshi size. For scale, I'll bring up, this is the one that's supposed to look like Bruiser Brody. Really, really nice on their scale there. And yeah, trying to get them centered in the screen. And that was the Rip that I made. You know, he's got the top knot ponytail, but it's very crude. It was all made in Tinkercad. And because of that, it's very geometric. His face looks a little bit like a Muppet. I did just get a new iPhone, so I'm going to take some nice pictures of these and throw them into the Discord later. But it's very geometric. An automotive YouTuber I watched did a decent video comparing different prints between filament and resin. It's an incredible difference. It really is. The toys I make now are all resin print because it prints in 8K resolution, whereas this is not quite that, although it is pretty good. And I did work really hard to zero in those settings. And we popped 2 Showa toys. So this one was even harder because there's such little tiny parts This was the prototype of Delmy Exo. Back when her gimmick was still, she was one of the boys, Delmy Exo. And I'm going to try to like back it with my hands so that it's really clear. And you can see she's doing the little this with her hand, the little devil horns. And there's a lot of details mixed in there. And it was really hard. Like those little fingers, and a filament printer is not meant to do that. It took so much work. So yeah, so that's our Rip and our Delmy prototypes from 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. One of the first things I made, and in fact, when the world shut down, I didn't see Rip for months. You know, we were, you know, we were quarantined. We were not together, and oh, they loved them. They each have one of each at the house. But when I made those, they knew I had gotten a 3D printer and that I wanted to work on some toys. I made the Rip, and I had to go to Rip's work because I'd bought a weight bench off Amazon that was not rated to hold the kind of weight that I lift. And clay strips is what I want. I'm trying to remember what I was doing here. Okay. And so he worked at a welding shop at the time and just said, yeah, bring your bench over. You know, I'll meet you outside. I can take it in and I can reinforce it. So that's what I did. And that's still the bench that I use to this day. But when I brought it to him, I said, hey, I got something for you. And I brought him one of these. And it was the first toy of him that had ever been made. It was the first toy that I'd made that I'd given to someone. And he couldn't believe it. So the goal here is to actually make what the final product of these things would be, in the hopes of, again, you know, of course, making some money at the old merch table. All right, we gotta go a little bit lower with that. I'm gonna back out a little. Was this the size that I made this before? Or did this keep? Yeah, this kept from the other settings. Let's go 60. That's what I wanted. That's what we're looking for. So at the time that I was doing that, I did all of that design in Tinkercad, which is a great program. You've all watched me use it here, but you've also seen how it works. It's very limiting. And that's not bad. You know, it's not meant for this kind of work. It's meant to be a teaching tool. You know, little kids in schools use Tinkercad to learn about 3D design now. God, I wish they'd had stuff like that when I was a kid. And it also has programs in it where you can build circuits and make electronics and those kinds of things. Well, let's see. Am I worried about these being slightly different heights? I think it's okay. I think my legs are not the same length, so I think it's good that it's asymmetrical. All right, we are going to switch back to our smooth option here. Uh-oh, AutoMod blocking someone. Oh, top viewers. No, we're denying it. Yo, I'm so glad AutoMod got updated. Rules. All right. Yeah, nice and slow. So again, one of the things that's really interesting about the way these tools work is the faster you move the mouse, the more aggressive everything moves. So if you go nice and slow, you can really take your time. And if you need like a strong effect, you can move the mouse very quickly. I tend to lean closer to going slowly and taking my time. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And again, once you're back here, it's all the same height. It's impossible to tell the difference. Cody Brooks, welcome in, my friend. The Tobias, the Turtle, and the Weird Al. The Holy Trinity. All right. So now we need to give this guy some shoelaces, right? You gotta have some bootlaces if these are gonna look like wrestling boots. Now I could let me get a look at some of these figures and see what they do. Okay, some of them do it. I'm trying to think if we want like the visible sole around the bottom of the boot. I kind of think that we do, and I think I can do it relatively simply. let's go back to the clay strips. We're gonna bump that radius back down. We'll call it like 50. And I think we can literally just do this all the way around, and it's gonna do the trick for us. That's more or less. Yeah, that's doing the trick. Okay, yeah, we're definitely doing that. These little details. This is the fine detail work that happens when I need to fill an entire stream and talk while I'm working, because I talk myself into these things. You know, it's the kind of stuff that I would do anyway for sure, but maybe not till the third or fourth pass on the piece before I would finally say like, no, better get it right. And again, all those little pixels that are just a little bit wonky there, don't get bogged down in that. Remember, this toy's only going to be 1.5 inches tall. So those little details will be basically impossible to see. There we go. Well, let's pan back and get a, yeah, that's looking very wrestling boot. Okay. All right. See, little details. They really matter. They really matter. All right. We got to match it on the other side here. So let's, we got to zoom in a bit. There we go. And you see I'm working in these little chunks here, right? I'm not like doing a huge section at once. And that's because if, and I'll kind of show you. I'll show you exactly why I do that. Because let's say I've got a really good line right here and I'm working really nice. But then over here I start to go off like, ah, crap. I have to undo it. If I did the whole boot and then screwed it up at the end and undid it and had to start over, really annoying. So I like to go in just little controllable chunks, taking my time, and just, you know, let's just get it right? I'm going all the trouble of giving a boot that's going to be in, you know, a 1/16 of an inch around this little lip. We might as well get it right. How's that looking? Is that doing the trick? That's pretty, yeah, it's not very pronounced. There we go. Let's give it a little bit more. Sometimes one of the things you do here is you move further from the piece because it makes the cursor bigger, and that will give you a stronger effect. There we go. All right, bring it around, and let's connect it back here. There we go. There we go. Now let's back way out. Yeah, that's the look we're going for. That's nice. All right. Now we got to give them laces on those boots. And, you know, this is one of the things that you have to try to remember when you're working on these things. Because these toys are so little. So little. I'm trying to even think, do I have something like, if I put it next to like a pen, I mean, it's so small, right? So all these little details are going to be really hard to see unless you make them very pronounced. They won't disappear. They will be there. They'll be there, but you might not, you know, from a ways away, you might not read it. But that said, there's no way it's going to focus on this. There is so much fine little detail on these toys. Yeah, really hard to get that camera to focus. I need a better webcam. We need Joey Nails to be throwing bits around like crazy, and we'll upgrade the webcam. He'll be back. Joey Nails will be back. I think he's spending time with his girlfriend this evening. So certainly am not going to fault him for not hanging out on the stream. Right? Like, definitely spend time with your girlfriend. All right, so I think, let's see, which one do I want to go with? Do I want Blob? Yeah, I think I want Blob. That's the one we want. So we're using Blob. We're going to make the strength like 0.8, really strong. And I think the size is okay. Yeah, because we want to do this. And this is how I do the laces on the boot. We're going to just 1, 1, 1, 1. He'll be back, and so will you, and you, and you. Of course I'll be back. If I didn't close, I'd never leave. There we go. And that's laces on that boot. And again, it looks a little weird and a little sloppy, but it's going to be so little that it has to be kind of like that. So let's get over on this other boot here. Do the same sort of thing. We're going to zoom in a fair bit. Bring it to about there. Okay, looking good. Boom, 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 boom. And then mimic it the other way. Go. Oh, you know what? I do want to do I do a little mess of a knot here because anyone who's ever seen me, you've never seen my laces loose on my boot. Pairing my headphones is saving me from a Lyft driver listening to political radio. Oh my gosh, I'll try to talk more. Holy cow. Yeah, one of the things you'll notice if you've ever seen me in the ring is that my laces are never hanging out. They're never loose, and that is because when I tie them, they're nice and long at the end. I tuck them into the boot. So that's sort of what I'm mimicking here. Is they're just imagine they're tucked on in there, just tucked right in. All right, so now this little bump we have here is a great start to the knee pad that we need, because we're going to do knee pads right here. And then we sort of have trunks almost built in already. We just have to do some smoothing and some reshaping. So that's gonna work really well for us. So knee pad. This is gonna be, we need the clay strips and we need them big. So we want to make this radius friggin' huge. Right, something like that. That might even be too much. We'll see. Let's see. It's actually not bad. Because we're going to come back over and smooth all this in a minute. All right, let's take that down a little. I think for the front, that's good. Because right now I'm getting the pad part on the front. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and, okay, that's too much. Come in and there we go. We're gonna just give it the old back and forth here and build the pad up. The namesake of the knee pad, the pad part. Looking about even on both sides. Okay, I think that's good. And now we can make this back down to a reasonable size, like 80 or so. And now we're just going to come around the back and fill in the rest. Because it does take a fair bit to make it stick out from there. And that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, we gotta be... Yeah, there we go. Something like that. Because in a second, we're going to smooth a lot of this out anyway. Yeah, there we go. And that's exactly what we're looking for right there. It's just building up the piece, and that clay strip feature does it so well. And even these littler lines, not going to be an issue. Not going to be an issue because we are going to smooth all this back down in just a second. There we go. Just getting it filled in here. This is it's so crazy how they've built this to work just like real sculpting, where you have to build up an area before you smooth it out to fit the shape profile that you need. There we go. Yeah, I'm just looking for that edge to appear. Just there we go. All right. So already from back here, like, that's a big improvement. We could maybe go heavier on it, I think. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, is I'm going to just build this out a little bit more on both sides. Just really give it some heft. All right, and now's the part where we come in and we smooth it over, right? Like, I could even, do I want to go thick around those? Let me find one of these figures that has knee pad. Oh, did I not grab my Terry Man figure? Yeah, I got two Buffalo Man figures. Neither has knee pads. The Kinnikuman figure I have is in jeans. Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. We don't have to steal the style exactly. You know what I mean? All right, so now we're going to go find our smoothing tool. And just very lightly, we're just going to smooth the inside of this. There we go. That's what we want. The Bob Ross of toy making, quietly talking to you about smoothing clay surfaces. I do hope everyone's having a great week. I've been having a fantastic week. We had a great stream last night. I know almost all of you were there for it. I kind of get the impression that you guys had a good time as well. I mean, certainly I had a good time. I remain not thrilled with the audio sync on my karaoke recordings. But, as with any karaoke, it's not really about the quality. It's about the effort. You know what I mean? It's not a matter of did this come out really good? It's a matter of, you know, how was the performance? This person really give it their all. So, and also I know that like all art, the author's intent and the author's opinion is goddamn irrelevant. It is up to those that consume it to find meaning and to find value. So it's not up to me whether I should say it was good or bad. It's up to those who watched, those who cheered, and those who requested, and everybody seemed pretty happy with it. Hard agree. Thank you. All right, So let's back out. Yeah, look at that. Look at those knee pads. Look at that coming together. That's looking nice. You know, there's a chance this may end up being a tiny little Perry muscle figure. Which is why if you ever get to see Not Beans perform any of her favorites, you're in for a treat. I mean, I bet she just kills it. I can't imagine it would be anything other than spectacular. I believe that they did not do the heavy metal karaoke at RPM Fest this year. Or last year, I guess, technically now. But I hope they bring it back. Kaniku Perry. That's right. Perryman. All right, so now comes the tricky part, because we got to do some smoothing here to make the trunks. And we need that, like, the edge of the trunks. We need the seam, so to speak. And what's tricky about it, to you know, for lack of a more delicate way to put it, is to shape it so that it doesn't end up looking like a diaper. I don't. There's not really another way to put it. I can show they do a great job. I don't actually know how visible it will be, but on Buffalo Man here, who is Bruiser Brody, they do a great job. Oh, gotta get him in frame. There we go. They do a great job shaping his trunks, where you get all the outline, you get every bit of the gesture of a pro wrestler, and it doesn't have that look. You know what I mean? I feel like I did a pretty good job on the Rip Bison that I made as well, which was, it was challenging. Again, I was limited because I was using a simpler tool. And yeah, so we're gonna try. First step is gonna be smoothing a lot of this. See, this seam here kind of works, but we need all of this to come together. And I think like the waistline is gonna be up here somewhere. So I'm kind of thinking the move is to do a lot of filling in with the clay strips, and then we can come back over and smooth and sort of create our seams. I think the butt needs to come out a little bit more. Not that I have that ample a butt, but this character ought to. This version of me should. Alright, so let's come way in here and let's just do a little filling in. Because we're gonna smooth. See how when I move fast, it really starts moving the stuff. And we are gonna smooth all this over. Right now we're roughing the shape in. Get a little mass in there. It's the kind of work I should be doing on myself in real life. Should be down in the gym, getting jacked, growing that bootay. That's where the money is, or so I'm told. As I understand it, there are those who refer to it as the money maker. Will then sing about how he loves rice with beef. Would actually happen in the Ultimate Muscle. Yo, Ultimate Muscle rules. All the Kinnikuman series are pretty great. Alright, so I'm gonna fill in here too. And again, all this is gonna end up smoothed out a lot. I'm just trying to give us something to work with here. Because we need a lot of these. We need a lot of these sections to kind of disappear. There we go. Just fill it all right in. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Can we should probably make the trunks a little bit taller than that, I think. Maybe I want to come. Yeah, there we go. And these will make pretty symmetrical if we can. That's looking pretty good. Thankfully, the sort of grid that you're seeing there, that is from the roughed out blank that we made in Tinkercad. And it sort of provides us like a bit of a guiding line all the way around. All right, let's just pan back. This is the diaper phase. Actually, with the way it sort of stops there, it's almost like the sumo wraps. I wish someone would redub Ultimate Muscle. The 4Kids dub was kind of cringe. Ooh, I bet. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come way in and just do one last pass around the top edge, because this is going to be the edge of the trunk. So we're going to smooth everything to that edge so that that becomes the seam of his gear. I feel pretty good about that. So now comes the tricky part, because we gotta smooth all of this so that it feels right. A little bit bigger, and we can come out a little. Gotta be careful. See how I went over that edge there? Don't want to do that. I want to keep that edge. So let's come in. And we're just going to do slow passes here, because we don't want to lose what we've created here. Go, muscle. And then I don't know any of the Japanese, so I can't really sing it. But the theme song to the OG Kinnikuman got stuck in my head all the time in Japan, especially if I was like on my way to the gym. It would just be in my head the whole time. That and Jushin Liger's entrance theme. Where's my little pinch grab tool? Elastic that's not it. Okay, we're gonna undo that. It's the grab. There we go. We want to push that in. Push that in. There we go. That's better. Phone alerting at me. Nothing important. All right. Back to the smooth tool. Again, the whole big trick here is to make this all look very natural when it's done. Which we're kind of verging on now. Where like you can see it coming together. Where a lot of the work like this I do over in Tinkercad that we've done is very fast moving, where boom, all of a sudden the shape just happens. This is very much the opposite of that. This is slow and methodical. Just trying to get it right, you know? Hope everyone's been having fun over in the Discord. We've had some fun conversations going on over there. We just started the Pets channel today. Shout out Nickabeans. That was definitely an oversight on my part. Should have had that from the beginning. But, you know, you live and you learn. We gotta fill in there. We gotta fill in here. And then we come back to this and we just go over it real lightly. Yeah, see how it shows us? It starts to reveal the stuff we gotta do. And we're gonna start sharing Steven Seagal more. Hey, Mr. Man, welcome in. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Working on some digital sculpting, doing some toy making here. Go, muscle. Alright, we gotta fix that up a little bit. Let's try a little of that. Yeah, let's try just inflating some stuff and then smoothing it. See how that does. Yeah, that's working okay. Good old Blender. Indeed. It is a beast of a program. We gotta try our best to get rid of this ridge here. Yeah, just that's doing the trick. That's what we need. Okay. There we go. Every so often you got to come back. Yeah, look at that. We got some trouble spots, but when you zoom out and you take some real perspective on it, it's not so bad. Not so bad. Hey, Mr. Man, you've done some work in Blender. I'd love to know your experience with it and how you feel about it. Because I know some people just adore it. Some people can't stand it. That's too aggressive. That's way too aggressive. Still way too aggressive. Holy cow. All right, let's go back to the flatten tool. That was being nice and gentle. Let's get that backed up view again. There we go. A bit of a ridge here. And in just a second, we're going to go around. Once we take care of the butte here, we're gonna go around and fix some of the rest of this, because I can see now what needs to happen. Oh, you're absolutely terrible at it. Yes, I do have a Discord now. Adam NX67, thank you for sharing, my friend. About once a year, I'll give it a shot for something, then get completely overwhelmed. You know, I tend to have periods where I'm doing a lot of Blender work and then a lot of not doing Blender work. So there's a lot of rediscovery that goes on, and I actually think it's one of the reasons that I've grown to enjoy it, because once you've spent a lot of time in it, which can be, as you say, overwhelming and exhausting and frustrating, right? I think I'm not putting any words in your mouth by saying that. That's certainly been my experience. With that, you also get little bits of knowledge, little bits of experience with it that then stay with you after. And it sits and it marinates in your head for a while. And when you come back to it, you have a greater command of what you're doing. And suddenly everything is just a tiny bit easier than it was. It's not like way easier, but it's a little bit easier. And that really does make like a huge difference. Let's see, is blob what I wanted here? Maybe it is. Let's try smooth that a little. Yeah, that's sort of taking care of the problem. This little problem area here. Let's blob and smooth. Don't like what it's doing there. Let's zoom in and do it to a smaller section. There we go. All right, and every so often you got to come back out and you got to get that zoomed out view. Okay, let's maybe inflate a little. Yeah, let's inflate that a little. And we'll come back with that smooth. And we'll just try to get rid of the edges. There we go. Yeah, big improvement there. Okay. We want to keep from having any weird little lumps, which is what the pixels will do on their own. I did manage to successfully use it to make a giant Plinko board for BeamNG. Hell yeah. You know, BeamNG, the use of this program by the folks in the modding world at BeamNG, fantastic. Like, what a time to be alive. Okay. Now let's zoom around. Let's get a look here. We got to flatten this front a little bit, I think. We just want a nice smooth surface. There we go. Something that reads as trunks, you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, that's a no good, boss. Let's try inflating that a little, and then we'll come back and we'll smooth. Don't like that either. It did it every time. All right, let's come in and do a small smooth, nice and slow. It's got this little crease that it's making here, and I don't like that. Sometimes you just got to do individual clicks instead of dragging. Okay. And then there's this. I'm not sure what to do about that, other than try to beat this part down. Which seems to be helping? I don't know. Maybe it's helping. Come back to like inflate and just go like bloop, 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 bloop. Maybe a little bit less. And then the smooth, just the light little taps there. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to call that, okay, that crease is killing me. But you know what? Sometimes wrestling gear has creases. That's looking pretty good. So now we're going to give it the edge the way I did before, where we just go around and we do a little clay strip edge, like a line, and then on the inside of the line we smooth it, so you just get that outer seam. That's really been my trick for making gear on these shapes. Just wanted to hop in and see how things were going. Y'all have a great night. Hey, Mr. Man, thank you so much for popping by. Yeah, hop in the Discord. Hey, Mr. Man, are you if you're still in the chat, are you in the area? Are you New England? Because we are doing a Monster Jam meetup in Hartford in a couple of weeks. So read about it in the Discord. And if you're not in the chat anymore, everyone else who's here should do the same. All right. So that's looking pretty good. We've actually kind of got our seam on the top already. Like, I feel okay with that. I just want to give a nice, clear, defined seam on the edges down here. So let's hop to our clay strips. We're going to zoom way in. And let's just try, okay. See, we got to make sure we're doing it the right way here. Now, I am going to a lot of trouble here of making this like really as perfect as I can get it, which we already discussed is not totally necessary because these details are going to be very small. But we've also talked about it before. I hold the toys that I make to a certain level of quality because I care about them. I think that they, you know, one of the things that I hear time and time again from people at wrestling shows, they tell me like, wow, you always have the best merch. And that's not an accident. Like, I put a lot of time and thought into my merch, and I make most of the designs, all of the toy designs, but I make most of the designs in general myself. And that is because I have a vision of what I want it all to be, and I want it to be really good. So taking my time to do the little details like this, again, no accident. No accident at all. I want it to have a certain look. And yes, that means that many of my friends end up with great gear too, because great merch too, because I often make their merch. Rip and Delmy currently have action figures on their merch tables that I made for them. And there's a few other folks who have inquired but have never pulled the trigger. Someday they will. All right, so that's going to give us our seam there, and it's not perfectly clean, but it doesn't have to be. I feel like the top seam already kind of looks pretty good. Like, it doesn't need a harder edge than that. So I'm going to leave the top seam. So now we want to get our smooth. And we're going to come in here and we just want to take away this edge. And this, one nice thing about this is I don't have to be in a big rush to get this done, because this is a figure of Perry Von Vicious. Perry's not wrestling this weekend. Fresh Youngman is wrestling this weekend. So I don't have to worry about having this done. See, it works both ways. I can click and drag, or I can just individual clicks and just let it kind of go bit by bit here. I just got my proofs back earlier today of the special merch item. I call it merch. It's not really merch because it's going to be free to anyone who comes to the Monster Jam meetup. I do have a special item that is only going to be for the folks who come to the Monster Jam meetup. Okay, let's see if we can clay strip our way around this problem. It really doesn't want to. Let's try inflate. Can we inflate here? Now let's see if we can smooth it from a distance. Oh, it still doesn't really want to work. What is this thing's problem? Trying clay strips again. See if we can build this up. Now let's try the smoothing. Kind of fix it. We fixed it enough. Let's go back to like there, and now let's only smooth around that to avoid that little trouble area. Okay. You can see now I'm getting into the real nitty-gritty here. Again, the kind of details that probably not totally necessary. Flatten, flatten, flatten. So we can, yeah, give it a little one of these. Let's see, how's that? Pretty good. We can do a little more. There we go. I don't want to get too in the weeds on little details like that, but there we go. That's just about ready. We got some smoothing to do back here for sure. Just want to take away the high spots. The irony that I'm using the flatten tool on my ass. Yeah, there we go. Now we've got trunks, we've got shoes. Now, one of the things that I may end up having to do, because to add the details, I need these trunks to look like mine. They need a design on them, so it could be really complicated to do, but like, I feel like the flames, maybe. I do have the half ones. I don't know which style I would do it. It's going to be really small, so it's going to be hard to see. So I'm kind of leaning toward like flames down one side like I have. And then back here, or I think it's down both sides. Yeah, we have flames here, and then on the back there would be a line here, and then it would say vicious. Again, you're not really going to be able to read that, but when I look at these toys, they have incredibly tiny details all throughout. So I feel like we need to live up to that if we're gonna mimic this style, right? So let's give it a shot, right? Why not? You know, we've done all this so far. I am real quick gonna hit the old save button. Keshi 2026. Never hurts to save your work when you're in a program that does not auto-save. Never hurts. Alright, so let's figure out how we want to do this. Let me get a look at some of these and see if they have like little lettering on them and stuff. Like, how do they do it? It looks like they generally have it as like an engraving, almost. It's like in, it's not out. My proclivity is to always go out. I have a little bit easier time with that. I mean, we could try it both ways, right? I mean, why not? So let's see. Let's, I think, is it inflate? It was blob I was using. And we got to make this radius real small. So like, yeah, something like that. And let's just see. Okay, yeah. All right. So let's try some flames over here. Just like that. And we'll do some flames over here. Like this. Come on, guys. I drew that with a mouse. That's not too bad. And a little bit of flames going on. And then on the back, let's see if we can, we want to come, well, maybe we need it to be the next spot out. Yeah, we need to be about like that. And we're just going to go straight across and then straight back again, right on the same line. I really want it to stand out. It might be a bit too much. Let's undo that. Yeah, there we go. Let's go about like that. And now we just need vicious across here. And again, this is such a tiny detail, but I think it'll read. I think we'll be able to see it. I think we will. So let's. Now, one nice thing about using the name Vicious on my gear is that it has an odd number of letters in it. So there's a center letter I can start from, and then I can build out. It's how I've always sort of done it. If you've watched me paint my figures on stream, I always start with that I that's in the middle, because it's VICIOUS. So there's 3 on each side of that center I. So let's try to get nice and centered on the back here. Okay, that's pretty good. I think we're looking pretty okay with it. Let's there we go. That should be as centered and straight on as we get. We're gonna zoom in, and right here we're just gonna drop in our first letter. This one we got a couple passes. There we go. We'll make our C. Just uploaded a piece of art in the Discord. Perry, you'll get a kick out of it. Oh, I'm going to check it out in a minute. We got our O. Yeah, look at that. I think that looks pretty good. It's not totally centered, but that's okay. This whole piece is kind of, you know, it's meant to look like a sculpture. So it's going to be a little messy. Well, let's see, how's that read from a distance? I think that's pretty promising, you guys. That's pretty promising. How are we doing on time? What do we have for time? We're at 1.5 hours, so we got another half hour to work here. We're definitely not finishing the figure tonight because we're going to get up to things like face and hair, and that's a whole world of its own. But we can start smoothing out some of the body here in the hopes that we can start roughing out like his muscles and everything. And we sort of did that with the initial design, right? Like we've built up big chest. You know, we did sort of break the arm into like bicep, forearm, hands, shoulders, Yeah, we did a lot of that work in the roughing out phase, which is no coincidence because I knew how much work this was going to be. But I'm feeling pretty good with what we've done so far. Should we see about maybe we put some thigh muscles in there, some quads, give him some quads. Let me see if I yeah, here we go. I've got a guy I can sort of mimic from. Let's see what we can do. I'm gonna try it with something I haven't done. How's that? Ooh, that's gonna work. We just need it to be stronger. That's 0.25. Let's go 0.5 and see what that does. I think we need to go bigger than it is, maybe like a 40. That's not quite it. We definitely need to go back down. So like we'll 25. Let's see what that does. Let's get a look. So we want to have one like here, and here, and here, and there, and all the way up, all the way up. Now that's cool. That's a tool we can use for some embossing of letters too. Yeah, that's going to come in handy. Let's back here. We kind of go like, whoa, okay, that's way too big. We got to zoom in to get it right here. Something like that. And then I kind of want to smooth these just a little bit from way back so that it's like big. Yeah, we want those to be kind of faint. Like that. Yeah, that's muscles. Yeah, okay. All right. That's impressive work for being so tiny. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what it's going to look like when it's done, because right now, this is reading pretty good to the toy I'm looking at. It's fun news. I talked to our crazy bunch of aunties about Rattlenbog at the wedding. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Did you really? And what did they say? He said, knowing full well the answer. Yeah, please do tell. Do tell what they said. Are they going to do it? They're going to do it, right? Like that's what's happening? That's what's happening? It's happening, right? Hang on. Look, Joey Nails ain't here to make it happen. But I can make it happen whenever I want. He said that they are in if you sing the main parts and they'll join in the chorus. Hey, don't threaten me with a good time. I might do it. I might need to learn it on the guitar and steal Johnny Idol's guitar. Oh, I'll tell Johnny Idol to learn it. Yeah. But you know what? You're going to tempt me with a good time. Who's ready to party? Who wants to throw some emotes? You guys want to party? I'm going to let loose with a free one. Here we go. Leaf on a limb, a limb in the tree, rocks in the tree, the tree, the tree, the tree, the bog down in the valley. Oh, oh, rattling bog, walk down in the valley. Oh, oh, rattling bog, walk down in the valley. Oh. Here we go. I threw us one for free at the threat of it all coming true at a Day Without Darkness's wedding. I guess I'm going back to doing toy design now. Oh boy. Okay. All right. So I definitely think we need to stick with the smoothing here, but we're gonna need to go a way bigger radius now. We need to go like maybe something like that. Yeah, like nice and big. We want to smooth this all out. The only song I hear is the background ditty you've been playing all night. Wait. Did you not hear Rattlin' Bog? Did Rattlin' Bog not play? Because you're right. I forgot to turn off the 8-bit, the chip tune. It was coming through, right? I saw everything flying. It did not. It did. So I was just dancing for nothing. Wait, hang on. Because Encrypted Cryptid is throwing all the emotes too, and I'm wondering, did it just not work? Hang on. Let's go ahead and let's mute the chip tune. Oh yeah, you're right. I gotta unmute the desktop audio and bring it way up. You guys ready? We'll do it this time. We'll make it work. We'll have it actually work. Here we go.
Very special with this Rattlin' Bog. We're going to do it in the style of the
You hearing it this time?
Everybody.
You hearing it this time? Hell yeah. One time to Dr. Cube. Here we go. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Where's Joey Nails? If Joey Nails was here, we would have heard that a bunch of times by now. That frickin' maniac. All right, let's see what the smoothing does here. Okay, I hate that there's that crease there. I hate it. But we can work with it. So I'm gonna smooth this over. Like that. Now what happens if I get right up on it here? Let's see. Oh man. Yeah, seriously, like so obviously I'd heard Rattlin' Bog before, like as a kid, right? Like it's one of those songs like elementary school songs that you learn to sing. Like it was one of them. Where do I get that to go away? Um and I hadn't thought about it in a very, very long time, as happens. And Then Mega 64 was doing their MLK Week The Room stream, and they had like a 5 minute version of that being sung by an Irish family after a wedding from like a clip they had posted on YouTube. And it was a clip that they had put into their options for people to play at Rocco to torture him because it was so long. You know, it just goes on and on. It's 5 minutes. That's a long time to hear that over and over. And he hated it. And it played so loud in the room. That's one of the reasons that everything was so torturous, is it was all so loud. Um, so he grew to really hate it. But a lot of the other guys actually legitimately liked it. They would just straight up say, like, I like that song. It's fun. And it got stuck in my head really bad. And they had a whole playlist from songs that were used to torture Rocco in the room. And the Wiggles version was on the Spotify playlist. And I was like, okay, well, here we go. I guess this is how I live now. This is me now. I'm just gonna listen to this sometimes. And the bog down in the valley, oh. I hate that that happens. I don't like that at all. Yeah, I don't like that these two pieces move as two separate entities. I have a theory on why that's happening, but I'm way too sunk in to change it now. Let's see what happens if I come way back and I go blah. Oh, that's so much worse. Okay, we're not doing that. Holy moly. No bueno. Let's try the clay strips method again, where I sort of build up here to hide that seam, that unseemly seam. Now at some point I'll do one of these where I just do the entire thing in Blender, you know? I'll start I'll start in Blender. Okay, that's a little bit better and not perfect though. Let's go back to our clay strips here. Now I'm kind of just testing stuff out, you know? We are nearing what would be the end of the stream, because 2 hours is about what I have in me on a given night. In fact, while we're here, well, you have my permission to sing it at the wedding. Well, thank you. Um, while I'm sitting here, I am going to very quickly message Johnny Torres and see what he is thinking about tomorrow. Because if he's not up for tomorrow, we'll figure out what we're going to do right now. Like, we'll just talk it over. We'll figure out what the plan is. Let's try the flatten. Is flatten going to work better? Flatten seems to be working okay. It's not accentuating the the problem. It's hiding it. And that's what we want. That's good. 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 Okay, we found the tool for us for this problem. This sort of seam between shapes. Because now we can come in here and we can kind of start to shape like pec muscles and then like abs and stuff. Like, you know, and let's see, maybe we can get rid of this. Can we get rid of this? Will this become less visible? Yeah. Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's get rid of that ridiculous seam. Okay, flatten is our tool. That's the one for us. Nice. Nice. Kind of want to bump this down a little bit. Just soften it. Yeah. Okay. Feeling pretty good about that. Now, let's see what happens if I come back with like a big smooth. Okay, I don't like that. It kind of takes away. It takes away, and I don't want that. But this is looking promising. Should probably try to take care of in here as well. Just get rid of the big seams. But maybe we come back to that. Some of these seams are okay because they show the cuts between the muscles. I mean, that's, when you look at a figure like this, you can see all those little lines in between the muscles there. There we go. Get them in the frame. That's what you're trying to take care of. Oh, well, the rattling bug down in the valley, oh, where bug, rattling bug down in the valley, oh. Okay, Johnny Torres says there's a pretty good chance we go through with the duo stream tomorrow, the co-stream. Checking in with him. Sounds like he's feeling a bit better. That's what I'm talking about. That's great news. Fantastic. All right, so I think I kind of want to do like that crease. Now, what did we use for that crease that we were using before? Was it just crease? I think it was, right? Yeah. That's actually kind of exactly how I wanted that. Not bad, not bad. Okay, we can undo that a little. Let's see here. Yeah, that little crease really helped, and the smoothing here. It's coming along. It's coming along. I feel pretty good about it. Um, all right. Let's let me actually get a look here. I want to see what details they include on these because I'll sort of try to do the same. Yeah, okay. Like this is actually not bad. I wish this was a little bit smoother, but maybe we can. I wonder if we can like sort of large scale inflate. That's sort of accentuating some things that I don't like so much, but probably not going to be visible once it's like it looks more noticeable here than it will on an actual figure because when you zoom in, it's real smooth. It's just the way that it displays here. So I think that's actually looking pretty good for the chest. Do we give him some sort of cartoonish like abs kind of in here? Do we think? I think we ought to. That's too big. That's too big. We gotta make that smaller. So that radius needs to be like a 20. Little bitty radius. Let's get a nice dead on front view. That might be a little too fine. Let's try a 35. Let's split the difference. Whoa, whoa, look at Johnny Torres in the chat. Oh my goodness, welcome in, welcome in. Happy to see you. Happy to hear that you seem to be feeling a little bit better. We were just talking about whether or not the co-stream was going to happen, and I look forward to it, but I also look forward to you feeling good. So don't want to push it with one. Let's Go. Little little abs for our boy here. Look what they done to my boy. Now let's just see. How's that looking? It's looking pretty good. I do want to smooth it just a little. For that, I want to go real wide and just ba. Too much, too much, too much. Let's bump the strength down. Let's go like 0.75. Yeah, I like it. I liked it better when it was just cartoony and extreme. We don't have to we don't have to completely undo it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna redraw those though. I think we can do better. Ooh, knee goblin. Knee goblin, have you been here the whole time? Just lurking about, just hanging? Not just picking your moment. Is that what's been going on? Old Max just picking her moment, not letting anyone know her movements. There we go. Yeah, that's some muscles happening. The Johnny Torres emote kills me. Yeah, okay. All right. Feeling okay about that. I think I want to. Do we want to go deeper like that? No, I liked it the way it was. Make it a little more faint, a little less noticeable. There we go. That's looking like chest and torso. Now we got to smooth out the back. That's the thing is you can't work on one part without working on the rest. It's so easy to get the front looking the way you want and then turn it around and go like, "Oh no." But this is for an I guess 2 hours. We're going right on 2 hours now. We're going right to the mark here. It's not bad work for 2 hours. We started down at the boots and started sculpting our way up, and we've made it through the front of the torso. I think on our next segment of this, we're going to have to do back of torso, shoulders, arms, and hands, because if I'm perfectly honest, the part that I am dreading the most is the face and hair. It's a lot of work. It's very difficult. It can get real easy. You can very easily make it look not not you can very easily break away from the style that you want. Their style isn't hyper realistic, but it is realistic. These are faces that are on these things. Um, the least realistic is sort of the main character, Kinnikuman, who has a bit of a Muppet look, which is exactly what happened with the early Rip Bison had a very Muppet look to his face. But those who know Rip Bison in real life know that he's kind of a Muppet, so that's not so bad. I know Blender is a beast of a program, but it's very capable of amazing things. I've seen some phenomenal work done with it. Yeah, there's people who do work that make anything I've done here look just abysmal. They do incredible stuff. I mean, it is used by professional animation companies to do 3D design and modeling for film. Um, but for these purposes, this figure is going to be, about the height of my thumb here. The last knuckle of your thumb. When you look at, let's grab main guy, Kanikuman. He's the height of approximately my thumb. So it's not going to be a big toy. So all these little details we're working on won't be hyper visible, but they will be visible. So like something like this, I might have to simplify because it's not going to be, it might not read very well. But the laces, the little edge on the boot, all that will read. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's always a way. And just because maybe I'm not if I'm not finding what I want to do, certainly there's a way to do it. And the beauty of YouTube is there is an unending supply of fantastic tutorials. I mean, I everything I know in this program I learned from YouTube tutorials. Okay. I'm sticking with it. I'm definitely pushing toward the end of my time tonight for the stream. Whoa, whoa, whoa. But, I'm once you dive into a project like this, it's very hard to walk away. As Johnny Torres knows after a bunch of hard work he did this week, while under the weather, he's out there doing the hard work of launching the Blitzkrieg Pro YouTube channel. I gotta add it into our Nightbot command here, but everyone, please check out Blitzkrieg Pro. I'm gonna add the YouTube into that command. I didn't think to update it until just now, saying it out loud. But he has done some great work getting stuff up there. Did a lot of design work. He's editing shorts for it. Really doing careful work with things like the video descriptions to make sure that wrestlers are having their info shared as well. This is difficult stuff that not everyone thinks about. There's a whole side to this stuff that people don't ever think about that's not easy. Salute your shorts. Camp Bonawana, we hold you in our hearts. And when we think about you, it makes me wanna fart. That show was very important to me. And an absolute nightmare fuel on top of it because Zeke the plumber is something I still think about pretty much daily. Come on, give me what I want. Okay, that's looking pretty darn good. I just want to get these. I mean, this is an area you won't even really see on the figure, but here I am fussing with it, trying to get it to look right. When you care about something, you do the almost completely unnecessary parts of the work because you care. Right. I feel pretty good about how that back is looking. Like some of these weird little things, when you zoom in, it's not really there. There's nothing to see. So like this line will not show because it's going to be so small. Nearing 50 subs already though over on the Blitz YouTube. Hell yeah. Folks, tell your friends, share it out. Let's get them up there. 50 subs 2 days in. That channel launched 2 days ago. There are 2 videos up, and I believe two or three shorts that are up. Like that is crazy numbers. That is great numbers. In fact, I just realized I have a secondary YouTube here, and I'm gonna go ahead and find the channel and subscribe with my secondary YouTube. I have a YouTube that I try to keep just so the algorithm's good for stuff my wife and I like to watch during dinner. Whereas the Perry YouTube, I watch a lot of like bodybuilding and wrestling and toy making, and it's not going to be the same content. Okay, so I feel like because I don't think I make the back all muscly. I think the back stays pretty plain on this. I feel like this is a logical stopping point for now. We've done some great work. There's some good details. It'll be real interesting once we've sort of blocked everything out here. I might run a very small test print just to see how everything comes out. See what details are visible, what needs to be simplified, what needs to be more bold, what's maybe too pronounced. But I think this is looking really good. Like I'm very pleased with the work we've done so far. So thank you all for hanging out. This has been a lovely, lovely stream. And I will be back tomorrow at 7. If Johnny Torres is feeling well, I will be back with Johnny Torres. If Johnny Torres is not feeling well, I will come on at 7 anyway for a 3-hour stream. And I'm not sure what we'll do. We might do a watch along of some type. Maybe I'll throw on an old school retro game, something I can really sink my teeth into. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say what we'll do, but I will be back tomorrow night either way. And with any luck, Johnny Torres will be feeling great, and he will be in. But if he's not, he's got to rest up because we got Rad Pro Wrestling. We got Rad Pro Wrestling this weekend. Throwing it in the chat there. They are, last I saw, 20 seats away from selling out their first show of the year. So tell your friends, tell your family. And in the meantime, I think I'm gonna hit save before I do anything else because I will completely forget to save this. Um, I think get wicked with y'all. Yeah, no rest for the wicked, but you got to rest up in order to get wicked. Let me take a look and see. We should raid somebody. God, everyone's playing the same stuff. Everyone's playing Resident Evil. Yeah, literally, everyone on my feed is playing Resident Evil, with the exception of one person playing Dark Souls, and with the exception of, oh, it's a silly place to raid, and I don't know that anyone there will actually care. Do we raid something silly or do we raid someone playing Resident Evil? What do we think? What do we think? Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat because there's a bunch of cool gamers playing Resident Evil. We can raid any of them. Or there's something very silly and kind of stupid that we can raid. And I'm happy to do either. But I want to get a read. I want to see where do you guys want to go? What do you want to see? See, let's see. I'm gonna say we raid Katie Marie. Although I'm gonna quickly check and make sure that she's actually still on, because sometimes my Twitch lies to me and tells me that people are still on and they definitely are not. Okay, yeah, Katie Marie is still on. Yeah. I was looking at Aggie and Park and Harbor too. You know what? Let's raid Aggie. Let's raid little Aggie. He's over there. He's playing the Resident Evil. We'll head over there. There we go. Little Aggie's raid settings do not allow me to raid it this time. All right, well then we ain't raiding little Aggie. He didn't want the raid. Park and Harbor it is. We'll raid Park and Harbor. Thank you all for hanging out. This has been a great time. I hope you enjoyed a little look into like what I do for some of the finer toy creation, the more organic shapes. It's a slow process, but the finished product can be really cool. And I'm really looking. I'm very pleased with this. This looks better than I thought it would look. But yeah, let's hop over in the other chat. As usual, throw the emotes, say hello, be a friend, be a pal. Let them know we're there. Be friendly, and I will see you all tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, hopefully with Johnny Torres. See you then, my friend.